Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
How are you?
I'm good. Should I hit record?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Jai.
Okay. Jai Shri Gonitai Bhagwan Ki Jai. Okay. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari.
Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari.
Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Giripara Hari Jaya Giripara Hari
Jai Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari.
Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana
Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana
Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana
Nandana Braja Janaranjana
Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana
Nandana
Braja
Braja
Janaranjana
Janaranjana
Yamuna Tira Jaya
Yamunati
Tira
Anachari
Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira
Anachari.
Punjabi
Jaya Radha Madhava
Punjabi
Hari.
Madhava Punjabi
Jaya Radha Madhava
Punjabi
Punjabi Hari.
Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Hare Ramo 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Rama
Rama Rama,
Rama
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Hare Rama,
Hare
Hare Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
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 Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna,
Krishna Krishna,
Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Rama, Hare
Rama Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
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 Hare Rama,
Hare
Rama Rama,
Rama,
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna
Krishna, Hare
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 Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama,
Rama Rama,
Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare
Hare.
Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama, Rama,
Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama
Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna
Hare
Hare Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
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 Krishna,
Hare
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 Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama
Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama
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 Rama,
Hare
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 Hare.
Jaya Gauranitha Gauranitha Hare Gauranitha Jaya Gauranitha Jaya Gauranitha Gauranitha
Gaurani Jaya Jaya Gaurani Jaya.
Prabhupada
Prabhupada.
Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya
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 Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada.
Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Namo Vishwatma Namo Shapravijacharesh Tushara His Divine Grace Abhay Chana Vindu Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Acharya, beauty founder Acharya Krishna Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai.
Anand Puri Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai.
Jai.
Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai.
Jai.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Shri Gaura Bhaktavinda Ki Jai.
Jai.
Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shamakunda Radhakunda Gurukavardhan Ki Jai.
Jai.
Shri Shri Vrindavan Mathura Dham Ki Jai.
Jai.
Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai.
Jai.
Ganga Maya Jamuna Maya Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Maharani Ki Jai. Mantra Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Ki Jai.
Jai.
Samate Gaura Bhaktavinda Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari
Hari
Bol.
Hari Bol.
Sasamaloris Hare Krishna. All
Yes.
the 700 devotees Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Always Sasamaloris Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Always, always, always Shri Guru and Gauranga. Always Shri Srila Prabhupada Ki.
Jai.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam session today. So today we are reading from Canto 5, The Creative Impetus, Chapter 3, Rishabhdeva's appearance in the womb of Merudevi, the wife of King Navi. And we are going to read today verse number 13. So this is a prose verse, so we'll just directly go to the word by word meaning. Kincha,
Kincha,
moreover,
moreover,
I am
I am
this,
this
Rajarishi,
Rajarishi,
pious King Navi,
pious King
King Navi,
Apatya Kamaha,
Apatyakamaha,
Apatyakamaha,
desiring offspring,
desiring
offspring.
Rajam,
Rajam,
a son.
son.
Bhavadrisham, exactly like you.
Exactly like you.
Ashashanaha, hoping for.
Hoping for.
Ishwaram,
Ishwaram,
the supreme controller.
the Supreme Controller.
Ashisham,
Ashisham,
of benediction.
of benediction.
Swarga apavargaha,
Swarga Apavargaha,
of the heavenly planets and liberation.
of the heavenly planets and liberation.
Api,
Api,
although.
although.
Bhavantam,
Bhavantam,
you.
you.
Upadhavati,
Upadhavati,
worships.
worships.
Prajayam,
Rajayam,
children.
children.
Artha pratayaha,
Artha,
regarding as the ultimate goal of life.
regarding as the ultimate goal of life.
Dhanadham,
Dhanam,
unto a person who can give immense wealth as charity.
unto a person who can give immense wealth as charity.
Eva,
River,
like.
like.
Adhanaha,
Adhanaha,
a poor man.
a poor man.
Palikaranam,
Valikaranam,
a little husk.
a little husk.
Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki. So I'll just read the translation first and then we'll read together. Dear Lord, here is the great King Navi, whose ultimate goal in life is to have a son like you. Your Lordship, his position is like that of a person approaching a very rich man and begging for a little grain. Maharaj Navi is so desirous of having a son that he is worshipping you for a son. Although you can offer him any exalted position, including elevation to the heavenly planets or liberation back to Godhead. Okay, so let's read together. Dear Lord, here is the great King Navi,
Here is the great King Nabi,
whose ultimate goal
whose ultimate goal
in life
in life
is to have a son like you.
is to have a son like you.
Your Lordship,
Your Lordship,
his position
his position
is like that of a person
is like that of a person
approaching a very rich man
approaching a very rich man
and begging for a little grain.
and begging for a little grain.
Maharaj Navi is so desirous
Maharaj Nabi is so desirous
of having a son
of having a son
that he is worshipping you
that he is worshipping you
for a son.
for a son.
Although
Although
you can offer him
you can offer him
any exalted position,
any exalted position,
including elevation
including elevation
to the heavenly planets
to the heavenly planets
or
or
liberation back to Godhead.
liberation back to Godhead.
Purport. The Bhaktivedanta purport. The priests were a little ashamed that King Navi was performing a great sacrifice just to ask the Lord's benediction for a son. The Lord could offer him promotion to the heavenly planets or the Vaikuntha planets. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taught us how to approach the Supreme Lord and ask him for ultimate benediction. He said, Nadhanam na janam na sundarim kavitam va jagadisha kamaye He did not want to ask the Supreme Lord for anything material. Material opulences means riches, a nice family, a good wife, and many followers. But an intelligent devotee doesn't ask the Supreme Lord for anything material. His only prayer is Mama Janmane Janmaneshware Bhagavad Bhakti Rahituki. He wants to be engaged perpetually in the loving service of the Lord. He does not want promotion to the heavenly planets or mukti, liberation from material bondage. If this were the case, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would not have said, Mama Janmani Janmani. It does not matter to a devotee whether or not he takes birth life after life, as long as he remains a devotee. Actually, eternal liberty means returning home, back to Godhead. A devotee is never concerned about anything material. Although Navi Maharaj wanted a son like Vishnu, wanted a son like God is also a form of sense gratification. A pure devotee wants only to engage in the Lord's loving service. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Shalakaya Chakshunvetam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manohishtam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Tosh Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Shagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parigana Shaitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Rita Shri Vishakanitam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishohana Sute Dehi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpataru Vascha Kripa Sindhu Vayevacha पतितानं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे तव कथामृतं तप्तजीवनं कविभिरीडितं कल्मषापहं श्रवणमङ्गलं श्रीमदाततं भुविगीर्णति जे भूरिदा जना भुविगीर्णति जे भूरिदा जना Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. So another very wonderful verse today, and as we are progressing this chapter, these verses, every verse in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is very important, and these verses is not only important for the people at general or mass. This is also very very important for the devotees, so this is something, it's not like the newer people or devotees who have just started their sadhana important. This is very important for practicing sadhakas also. So today's verse, it actually presents a very very refined and subtle teaching, and that's why I seek blessings from all of you, so that I can present it in a way that makes sense. But I was just trying to, when I was preparing, it's just trying to go a little bit deep and see that, how this instruction through this verse can help us all, and so that we can meditate on the instruction and progress in our spiritual life. So as we see in this verse, Maharaj, and from the previous verses, the background, Maharaj Navi has performed the sacrifice, and he has done it with all the required, paraphernalias, with great devotion. Then the, Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared, and then the priests are offering prayers on behalf of the king. But first thing to notice in this verse, that the mood of the priest, the mood of the priest, they are like striking. Why it is like that? Because they are standing directly before the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? And the Master of all benediction, he can give anything and everything. Um, and they are conscious of the request that has been made by King Navi, obviously, who is the main, main personality there, who conducted that sacrifice. Because why they are a little bit embarrassed in a way, because in one sense, uh, the request which has been made, it's actually kind of disproportionate, disproportionate to the opportunity before them. And that's why they compare that request to a poor man approaching a rich man, and asking for a handful of rice, or even like rice husk, as you know. um, the the point here is, King Navi, he is not a like a ordinary materialist. He has been, he, as it's been described, he is a Rajashri, a saintly king. But here, through this pastime, um, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is showing us that the subtle difference, between when we are approaching the Lord for something connect to ourselves, and when we are approaching the Lord for Lord's own pleasure. That is kind of the theme. Just I'd like to go and today and explore more through this verse, because as Srila Prabhupada also mentioned in the purport, that what's that main difference there? That's something that we are doing for Krishna, that we are committing ourselves for Krishna, but at the day's end, is it for our own pleasure or is it for Krishna's pleasure? And this is very, very, very important for practicing devotees. As no matter how long we have been here, but these are the points which are very subtle but very important, and that actually also determine that how someone progress in spiritual life. For devotees who have served for long, read Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam very diligently year after year, this verse through this verse, it's not merely coming up that the material desires are inferior. That is already known, that is a preliminary understanding, that is a very basic understanding. The deeper thing here through this verse, which we need to focus on, that even within our devotional activities, and the culture that has been set by Srila Prabhupada, that we are in this movement, and we commit to the devotional service, even under remaining under that, and also with the regulated sadhana that we also trying to commit ourselves, even with the performance of regular service. That service can be any service, deity worship, serving in kitchen, serving in preaching, serving in, anything, even with, taking care of family responsibility, or even temple life, living as a brahmachari. How, like you know um, how much the heart is actually subtly negotiating with Krishna. Like, even though we are committing ourselves, but we need to analyze this, that is my heart is totally surrender, or it is subtly negotiating with Krishna, that our the devotion that that is getting offered, is that getting offered with an expectation that Krishna is going to organize something for us, or Krishna is going to arrange our preferred outcome, you know. Also, it's so that it's in a way that how much of that devotion is simply offering to Krishna for his pleasure, regardless the outcome. So there is no ulterior motive. So the service is done without any ulterior motive. It's completely for Krishna's pleasure. And this distinction is very delicate, and only ourselves, because we can see in our heart and Krishna can see in our heart. So these are the two persons that can work it out, you know. So that's why it's very delicate. One thing you need to understand, that Srila Prabhupada, through the teachings of Bhagavad Gita and all the all the scriptures, Srila Prabhupada has has pointed out that approaching Krishna with needs it hasn't been discouraged. You know, Bhagavad Gita confirmed that Arthi, Jignashu, and Gyani, they all approach Krishna for something. They are all Sukritinaha, as it has been described there. They are they are actually being regarded as pious because they are approaching Krishna rather than approaching Maya. You know, so someone is in distress, so they can go and do some other stuff to get out of the distress. So we know that there are so many avenues in this material world that people can go and just so I want to get rid of this distress, so let me cool off, let me sit down, let me go through, I don't have to explain to you, there are so many avenues. But these people, which has been explained in Bhagavad Gita, the Arthi, Jignashu, Gyani, they are pious because they are approaching Krishna. Although they have this ulterior motive behind them, that I want to get out of this, so that's why I'm with Krishna, but still they are pious. So therefore, the distressed person who prays to Krishna, the householder who prays to Krishna, the distressed person is praying, okay, please take me out from this all this misery. The householders are praying that, oh, please provide protection for my family. The preacher who is praying to Krishna for utilities, that so that I can preach more in a more effective way. So or even even the manager who is praying that, oh Krishna, please help this project to be successful. These are so all these prayers to Krishna, they shouldn't be dismissed as they are materialistic. So they are actually in the right path. But again, what Bhagavatam is pointing out here, that we shouldn't be complacent with that, because Krishna, though he does accept all these approaches with mixed, that it is a mixed bhakti, it's not a pure bhakti. So Krishna accepts these mixed approaches. But what Krishna does, that when he approaches it and see that someone is coming, then he also helps them to purify the motive behind that approach. So that's why for a sincere devotee, we see the examples of sincere devotees, that the bhakti starts where we are, where at the wherever the position that we were in, for all of us individuals, bhakti starts with that, in that position. But bhakti does not leave us there. As we sincerely try to approach this bhakti through this path of bhakti yoga, it takes us near to Krishna. So that's why in this sense, if we try to imagine more, and not imagine, if we want to analyze more, then this king's Navi's request is that's why it doesn't, the priest, they were like a little bit embarrassed. The king is asking for a son, like the Lord. So from a worldly perspective, it seems entirely noble. But what the priest, they are perceiving, that even a noble desire may still be colored as something like for sense gratification. Because here the king is asking for the son, from which is connected with, to maintain his dynasty, fulfillment of the lineage, and all those satisfaction. It is religious, it is kind of dharmic, as they say, but it is not fully free from atmandriya priti. That famous verse, atmandriya priti vancha tare boli kam, krishnandriya priti vancha dhare prema nam. So atmandriya priti means, I'm trying to do something, like, again, the service is doing, but there is this tinge inside there, that which is for my own pleasure. And whenever that is there, then it becomes calm, it becomes lust. And krishnendriya pritibancha means, but if someone commit fully for the pleasure of the Lord, dhare premanam, then it becomes fully love. So that's why it is important that to make that distinction. But again, that distinction is very subtle. So how we actually, what we can do, because this is very subtle and it can happen anytime. So what we can do to always make ourselves, make ourselves checked, and we remain on the right side of it. So that's where, we see the exalted devotees, they have given all these instructions for us. Like Rupa Goswami, the definition of uttama bhakti, anya abhileshata sunyam jnana karmadi anavritam anukulena krishnanu anushilanam bhaktir uttama. So we have heard this verse, right? But this verse has been quoted many times by Srila Prabhupada. But this application is very, very, it can be done in a very different way. And it's always fresh. Anya vilashata sunyam doesn't mean, Anya avilashata sunyam means that Anya means, other. Avilasha means desire. Sunyam means no desire. So, but here in this context, it doesn't mean that it's saying that you don't have any other desires, like absence of function, feeling, planning, like whatever responsibility, desire. For a jivatma, as far as there is consciousness, there should be desire. So the point is not to be like kind of inert. That is not possible. The point is that the desire should no longer be independent of Krishna. So that's why the disease, as we can say, bhava rog, like bhava rog means, the material, because we are in this material world, the disease comes from there. The disease is not the desire itself. The disease is that the separate desire from Krishna. So in this context, it is when I was listening to one of the lecture, it was very nicely put that material consciousness means that how can Krishna, Guru, Gauranga, Shastras, devotees, temple, family, all my friend support, how all of these support me to achieve what I'm trying to achieve. That can be also with this, with my devotional service. how all of this can help me, support me to get whatever I'm trying to achieve. When someone thinks like that, then it becomes material. Purified consciousness or spiritual consciousness is, how can my body, my family, my occupation, my influence, my intelligence, my resources, everything that I have can be adjusted for Krishna's satisfaction. Like the difference there. One side is how everything that, like what I'm trying to achieve this in this spiritual, for my, like I'm trying to do a spiritual service, how everything and including Krishna can help me to achieve that. That is one side. The other side is how whatever I have, like my body, my mind, my everything that I have, my intelligence, everything, how all of them can be adjusted so that they can be used for Krishna's satisfaction. That's where this Anya Avinishita Sunyam comes in, the Uttama Bhakti. That is that change, the paradigm shift. When that shift happens, then someone becomes someone goes to that Suddha Bhakti level. Abhilash, the desire for a devotee. We sing every day, right? Moro e Abhilash, Vilash Kunje Diovash. In the Tulsi Arati. Like we are praying to Tulsi Maharani that please give me the pleasure, please allow me to be in the pleasure groves of Sri Vrindavan Dham, so that I can see and I can observe the beautiful pastimes of Shri Radha and Krishna. See, when someone have that desire, then it's completely changing the life. It's changed everything. That is the only desire that I have, nothing else. And that's why we are praying to Tulsi Maharani every morning. So that's why the practically this verse asking us to examine that subtle content of our prayer. So prayers, whenever, when we don't have the knowledge, spiritual knowledge, mostly it becomes self-centered. Like, oh, I want this one, I want this, please, that's why it happens. Like, please Krishna, please make this thing successful for me. And so that I'm asking that this service becomes successful, but my internally, what actually I'm asking, that if this service becomes successful, then my effort will be recognized. My, people will be they will be singing my name and fame. My anxiety will be removed. My so it is like something that it will give pleasure to me. So this is the first stage of prayer. But prayers also go to different stages. At the mature stage, the prayer is that Krishna, please let this service, like whatever service I'm trying to that is also like you are allowing me to do it, but whatever I'm trying to do, let me please you. If I if success comes, let me not become proud of that service. If failure happens, then let me not get disappointed, and then if failure happens, that, oh, I got disappointed and I'm just leaving the service. No, let me not do that. Let me not become discouraged. If And then, very importantly, if others get recognized, let me be glad. It's very important. If others are doing nice services, let me be glad. And also, if I'm being corrected, if someone says, okay, you are doing this wrong, and you are doing this is not right, this is wrong. So if someone says that, if I'm getting corrected, let me learn from it. So if the result is different from my expectation, let me remain content, let me learn from it. But most importantly, let me remain as your servant. This is the mature stage of prayer. So that's why it's very important. It's very important that we focus on this subtle nature of the prayer, that what actually we are praying from Krishna. So in that regard, also another example I heard that from Srila Prabhupada. I think most of we heard this analogy where Srila Prabhupada has given, that the analogy of the polishing the cage and neglecting the bird. That is, we know that, that if someone is taking care of the body but doesn't take care of the soul. But how about we go to the next level of that and try to think that at the basic level, um, we are, material from the materialist societies, polishing the cage of the body and the neglect the soul, that happen. But from a devotional perspective, or from a practicing sadhana, there is and taking this example shows there is another danger. And what's that danger is, for if that cage and bird, if you try to think about that example, we may polish the institutional, or or the social, or the intellectual side of devotional life, where if we neglect the inner side, and the inner side is the remembrance, humility, dependence, and the eagerness for hearing the chanting. So it's kind of like, the cage is here is explained as that we are just focusing on the, okay, how we can make this outside of the institution very nice. We can build a nice building, we can build a nice kitchen, and then we can have, externally we try to make all the things very nice. But uh, internally, the main things which are the pillar of strength are like the remembrance of the Lord, humility, dependence on the Lord. We don't focus on that. Then what happened? Then basically we can have all this, we can have big projects, we can have big meetings, we can have big responsibilities, big seminars, everything can happen. But if the inner side, like the Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Saram, that becomes weak, then what happens? The entire institution becomes weaker. The external structure of service must nourish the internal surrender. That's the important part. Because if the spiritual activity, like, if the spiritual activities is just only focusing on these external things but not the internal thing, that's why Srila Prabhupada all mentioned, and you probably all have heard, that boiling the milk, it's very important. Boiling the milk, yes, we are, as a practicing sadhanas, we get involved into so many services and things like that, which mostly connected to build the external side of it. But internally, if we try to put it in a very simple term, is the sadhana. If the focus doesn't remain on sadhana, or externally we get so busy that we can't focus on on our sadhana, then everything becomes weak. Like, his grace, Prabhu Vishnu Prabhu, when he was here, and he was saying that, in his class, that although management is very very complex and critical, but if someone has a strong sadhana, then managing anything through that management, spiritual management, is on their fingertips. And the best example is Srila Prabhupada. He was doing so many things. He was obviously, all the 108 temples were dependent on him. They were asking all these questions and all this. There are, conflicts there and here and there are, innumerable issues were happening. But Srila Prabhupada, amidst that, he was focusing on his, translation. He has very minimal rest, but at the same time, his sadhana was pakka. He's chanting. He always makes sure that, he's chanting and everything. Even one time, Srila Prabhupada said, once I finish my 16 rounds, then bring all the things to me, and I'm ready to deal with them. So Srila Prabhupada shows us that. So that is very important to focus on the internal side, which is the sadhana, rather than external. External are important. It needs to be taken care of. But if we don't focus on the internal side, as we said, like, the building, if you say the internal, if you go the down where the pillars are, if that becomes weaker, then definitely the everything gets collapsed. So that's why the self preservation is to make sure that, like, we focus on the internal thing, internal sadhana. And that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's prayer, that na dhanam na janam na sundarim, is so central in this context. That Mahaprabhu is, like, an Srila Prabhupada also mentioning in the purport, that from this prayer, Mahaprabhu does not merely reject the obvious material environment. Like, he obviously rejects all the wealth, the follower, prestige, everything. Like, and most of them come when from the external activities. So everything gets rejected by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And what he says, Mama Janmane Janmaneshwari Bhavatar Bhakti Ahitukitoi. Birth after birth, let there be causeless devotion unto you. And that's what the main point is, that this is very extraordinary, because it's actually removes that subtle bargaining that we discussed at the beginning of the class. That is there, that subtle bargaining, that every time that we wanted to do something service, is a bargaining with Krishna, that, okay, Krishna, I'm doing this, can you please do this for me? Can you please put me into this position? Can you please take out, like, these complexities for me? Can you please take out this anxiety for me? So all these things, like, I'm bargaining that, Krishna, I'm promising you, I'm going to do this, please help me with this. But with this prayer, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is taking out all those bargaining. There is no more bargaining. I'm just trying to do this service, because birth after birth, I just want to have your devotional service. That's it, nothing else. So that's why, if he's saying that, even if birth and death continue, let my devotion not be interrupted. So for us, the practical application is not to, like, we shouldn't, like, imitate this artificially, but to consciously move our prayer to in this direction, that there is simply no scope of bargaining. It's fully that, okay, we are doing this service for the pleasure of the Lord, nothing else. And then whatever after that, that is Krishna is going to is up to Krishna, that how he's going to manage. So that's why that the prayer that we as we were discussing, the prayer to Krishna, as we said, that the mature level, where as the prayer goes to the mature level, the prayers becomes more simple to Krishna. As we said that, okay, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying that, Mama Janmane Janmeshwari Bhagavad Bhakti Rahituketoi, it becomes simple, but it becomes more deeper. It becomes more surrender to the Lord. That when I'm saying that, please engage me to your causeless devotional service, when someone can get causeless devotional service, when someone always remember Krishna all the time, always remember Krishna, never forgets Krishna. So the prayer is saying, through the prayer, there is this agony that the devotee has, like, they are, like, simply crying for the Lord, that please protect my remembrance of you, please protect me from offenses, please allow me to serve the Vaishnavas without any duplicity. So when we are doing service, so there shouldn't be any duplicity there. Please accept, like, please let me accept any correction. If anyone comes and it's like criticism is there, please let me at least, like, take this, let that not affect me from my to my ego, rather than it affect me in such a way that I can take the positive thing from there, and I can fix, like, rectify that in me. So all these prayers, that indicates that the shifting from the this uh, it becomes like a circumstantial. They actually shift the circumstantial position to the transformational devotion. So we are, then what happened that we are not simply asking to Krishna or like praying to Krishna that Krishna please change the one world around us. Oh Krishna, like this is not happening. This I'm not getting along with this person. I'm not or like this family member is having this one. Can you please change? Can you please do something? So we are not asking Krishna to change the world around us. Rather than we are praying Krishna that please rearrange our heart so that whatever comes we can take it. Like, so as we know, like Krishna Suridam Sarva Bhutanam. So once that our heart start to become transformed like that, then no matter who is there, we are always friendly to everyone because we see Krishna through everyone. So that's why it's very important, these prayers, that when we try to understand that it's becoming it becomes simple, but it becomes more deep. And that's why also, like the next phase of the prayer, that we understand that when it becomes a mature stage of prayer also, but doesn't but also need to understand that it doesn't mean that Krishna always, if we pray, Krishna always doesn't give what we ask for, right? Even we, if there is mixed devotion and someone asks for this, Krishna might give them something else. And that is a very wonderful test, that whether we are attached to Krishna or we are attached to the thing that we are asking from Krishna. So if Krishna gives whatever we ask for, then we said, oh, Krishna is very merciful. But if something comes which we didn't ask for, then how hard it is to say that Krishna is very merciful. So that's why the maturity in devotion comes, that our faith is doesn't depend on the fulfillment. Sometimes Krishna protect us by giving, and also sometimes Krishna protect us by not giving, and that we don't understand at the same time. Sometimes Krishna fulfills the desire, and also sometimes what happens, Krishna exposes that desire to us, that we ask for something and it came, so we became happy, but sometimes it didn't came. But then we see that by not getting it, what actually Krishna is trying to show us. So sometimes also Krishna frustrates the desire so much that another deeper desire gets awakened. So I was not so, and we see that example of Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj was going to get this kingdom, and he was going through the path and he couldn't find. He gets frustrated, but then he met with Narada Muni. Ultimately, he met with the Lord. And like what happened after that, then his realization is that I was getting frustrated that I was not getting a piece of glass, but now actually after that what I have received is actually a diamond. So that's why the devotee learned to look for mercy not only in success but also in delay, also in corrections, also in failure, also in the different disappointment, and also in dependence, that I am dependent on Krishna. That is also a success. Although, yes, what probably I have thought that I didn't get it, but it's basically the mercy of Krishna that I didn't get it. So that's why it's from today's verse. If we like now, if we want to conclude that the amazing thing here, that what we are focusing on, that not merely the material desire, and like and the devotional desire, it's not it's not like we are just trying to go through the contrasting nature of that. What we are trying to see here, that it is revealing the gradual purification of devotees approach to the Lord. When there is no harm in asking something from Krishna. Krishna is there. He's a loving father. He's there to do it for us. And we begin our life by asking for relief, support, protection from Krishna. And Krishna kindly accept them at the beginning. But but after that, as we learn from the scriptures, learn from Srila Prabhupada, and also all the Acharyas example, that they actually invite us to go further. So from seeking Krishna, from all those things, then we ask for, okay, Krishna, what can we do that we can please you? So simply asking, so going from simply asking Krishna to fulfill our plans to ask Krishna that can you please include me in your plan? So that's the important thing, that when we are trying to Mahaprabhu's Sikshashtakam prayer, when we meditate on that I like we always try to meditate that please we approach you, the Lord, with mixed motives, but please, let those motives not um, define my spiritual life. It is obviously a starting point, and what we are praying, that please purify the desires. Please give us this mercy so that um, our chanting becomes more sincere. Please protect us from offenses. Please let me serve the devotees. And more importantly, whether you fulfill the desires or not, please let me never ever let forget you. You know. So this is the definition of Uttama Bhakti. This is where the Uttama Bhakti is someone taking someone to that Anya Avaleshita Sunyam, that someone is to that platform, that where we don't have any other desire rather than to please only the Lord. So although here King Navi is in front of the Lord and he is asking something for himself, but when we get this opportunity from the Lord, then we should ask for something, that actually there is nothing to ask from you. You are giving everything to us. Uh, Only thing, if you permit us to ask, is just to keep us remain in your service life after life. So that is kind of the thing, the theme that I thought that let us all discuss today and meditate today, and that subtle distinction, that where we are trying to serve, but at the same time is that little bargaining that always happening in our heart with Krishna, or we are doing it wholeheartedly for the pleasure of Krishna. That is the distinction, and that is we always should want to meditate and focus on that, actually which way we are heading. So thank you all very much. We are a little bit over time. I just try to hopefully made a little bit sense. I'm just trying to think about few of the things and try to put together. So thank you all for joining. So before we finish, if anyone wants to add a point, a comment, please go ahead, and then we will finish today's session. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji,
Hare Krishna.
Somendra Krishna Prabhuji. Very nice class. Thank you very much. This is such an important verse, and it gives us so much of understanding that when we are praying or Krishna is in front of us, what we are going to ask. I just remembered a story that there was a woman and she was carrying a firewood on her head, and it suddenly fell from her head,
Yeah.
and she asked for Krishna, Krishna, and then Krishna comes and he says, what can I do for you? And she says, can you put this bundle of firewood on my
Wow.
head? So this is how our consciousness is there.
Yeah.
If Krishna is there, we are asking for these things. So we have to understand what we can do. Now, every day, all of us, most of who are in this, Zoom class, we are chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And we are saying, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And what we are actually asking, all attractive, all pleasing energy of the Lord, engage me into your devotional service. We are asking that, but we are asking inattentively. What actually we are asking for is service. And when the service comes in front of us, then we don't do that. So what's the point of chanting like that and then not doing the service? That's the 2 point. I know you have given so nice points, but I just wanted to say these things because this is actually practical for all of us. So we should understand. Now another thing is that in Kunti Maharani's prayers, Kunti Maharani is such an exalted devotee, and she is praying to Krishna, and she says, "Please give me calamities, and so that what she is asking, so that we can see you again and again." She knows that whenever they were in trouble, the Krishna was there. So we don't learn that thing because and ask Krishna for those calamities. At least I can say I won't say, Krishna, you come and give me calamities, and so I can remember. So for us, we have to follow whatever spiritual master has said, follow the instructions of spiritual master, chant our rounds nicely, attentively, follow 4 regulative principles, have association of devotees, hear Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, wonderful class.
Hare Krishna. Okay, thank you all for joining today. We'll again meet tomorrow. Vancha kalpatarubhascha
Anand Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
His Grace Somendra Krishna Das Prabhuji ki jai.
Jai.
The God of Bhaktavinda ki jai.
Jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.